Legitimate point here. I will say, a lot of black men sometimes feel like they're ignored or they're put down, particularly sometimes even by black women in the media. So this is not that. But I do hear Roland's point that felt ignored. But you feel ignored, and then you go over to the other side. The oppressed feel oppressed. So then you go and try to align with the oppressor. So I'm not putting black men down, but sometimes it's like, well, some of you Kevin Samuels following Tariq Nasheed quoting people, please look at the truth and see what's happening and get in line with some of the black women. Is majority, like he said, vote Democrat. But that margin of people who can be plucked away from your people and go advance policies that harm your people, I just don't understand that.
Welcome to another episode of the Jay Lex Podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment to the content. You know where to find it. I hope everybody had a great weekend. A lot of football on. Nice. We got past that first week where things seemed to be a little crazy. Back at it now. The Giants and the Jets won yesterday, which is complete and total insanity. The Giants are 2-0. This really shows you what the first part of the season means. Giants Nation gone crazy, but other Giants fans know what's up. Still a work in progress, Daniel Jones, but we'll see how that goes. The Jets pulled one out yesterday in Cleveland at the last minute. That was a hell of a game. A lot of good games on yesterday. The Cardinals going into Vegas and beating the Raiders after being down 20-zip. Wow. Anywho, y'all know what it is. But today's topic, here we go again. It's midterm season, y'all. You know what that means. A lot of commercials, whether it's on YouTube or other forms of social media or mainstream TV, a lot of political commercials, people insulting each other, blah, 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 blah. We know the game. But I came across a clip from MSNBC. I believe the young woman's name is Tiffany Cross. She had a couple people on, including Roland Martin, talking about different things. They were talking about the Trump thing and then, the DOJ and all that. Then they got into Stacey Abrams, because I think right now she is down in the gubernatorial race out in Georgia. And so now, one of the strategies, and we know the strategy, now they're going to black men, which is a little bit different than the norm. Now she believes, because she's down, I think, 2 percentage points or something like that, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't mean anything. But she's down. And now she's going into her bag of tricks and asking black men, yes, you black men, if you come out and you vote for Stacey Abrams, she can win. This is the same tactics that they use during the presidential election season, especially the Democrats. What do? They go to the black churches. They sit in your pews. They take on your accent. They pretend to care about you. They need you to get out to the polls. And those pastors and ministers, they say, yes, we have to vote for blah. We have to vote for them. We have to. Y'all are smarter than I am. We all know the game already. But I find this interesting because it's one of the first times that I've seen politicians attempt to pander, because usually they pander to women's rights, things along those lines. I've never seen them pander to a specific group of men, though. Usually it's general, like, come out and vote for us, But this young woman made a comment that I found very, very interesting, related to the importance of black voters, black men in particular, going out to vote for Stacey Abrams. And I'm going to try to play this clip here. Just give me 1 second. All right.
legitimate point here. I will say, a lot of black men sometimes feel like they're ignored or they're put down, particularly sometimes even by black women in the media. So this is not that. But I do hear Roland's point that felt ignored. But you feel ignored and then you go over to the other side. The oppressed feel oppressed. So then you go and try to align with the oppressor. So I'm not putting black men down, but sometimes it's like, well, some of you Kevin Samuels following Tariq Nasheed quoting people, please look at the truth and see what's happening and get in line with some of the black women. Is majority, like he said, vote Democrat. But that margin of people who can be plucked away from your people and go advance policies that harm your people, I just don't understand that.
Woo! Ooh, did she try to guilt black men in particular into going and voting? We've talked about this before. I've talked about this on this podcast. Please explain to me what benefit, not just black men, but black people in general, what benefit is there to you voting for the Democrats? What advantage do you have? You've been voting for the Democratic bloc for the most part. There's a few, for the majority of black people have been voting for a long time. Not everybody, obviously, but please explain to me why would any black person in the right frame of mind, and before y'all try to go off on a tangent, you don't have to vote Republican. Okay, you can vote independent, or you can just not go out and vote. I've said this before. I know some people are like, well, people fought. Yeah, they fought because they didn't have the right to vote. Okay, they did not have the right to go to the polls as legal Americans and go and vote. You have the option now. It's like the gun rights. It's like the whole gun laws thing. You have the right under the First Amendment, or the Second Amendment, excuse me, to go and bear arms. It should be done by legal means. You should go and respect the firearm and go take a class, learn how to use it, the whole bit. But I also have the right not to exercise that. Why do I have to go out of my way to vote for a party that has literally done nothing for black people of any significance? What, the Voting Act of 1965? That was 15 years before I was born. This whole mentality of those guys over there oppress you, it's got to stop. I know a few Republicans, okay? They're not the nicest people in the world. Yes, they try to go and delegate for the black vote. But at the end of the day, the Republicans are about their money. So are the Democrats. But the Democrats, pretend to be like, oh, well, we're above that thing. No, you're not. How many Democrats in Congress are worth millions of dollars for a job that is a civil servant job? In some cases, hundreds of millions of dollars. Nancy Pelosi is not a civil servant. Nancy Pelosi is a hustler who lives gated. We're hearing about all this, migrant stuff that's going on, and you hear all the Democrats, especially, they talk about how we need to let the migrants in, blah, blah, blah. Would you let them stay at your house? I'm not even talking about 50 that they sent to Martha's Vineyard. Would you allow one family to stay in your house? Would you pay for their health care? Their food, clothing, shelter, schooling? See, nobody asks these politicians these difficult questions, especially the ones who are pushing a specific agenda. So I'm not mad. At black men, because this is what this was specifically about, or specifically geared towards, was black men. I'm not mad at black men who say, you know what? I'm out for me and mine. I've told you before, voting is not an emotional reaction, but a business, transaction. That's what voting is, ladies and gentlemen. You don't vote to get nothing. And I ask people all the time, what have you gotten from the Democrats that makes them so important, that makes them so significant, that you have to constantly go out there every election cycle, whether it's local, state, or federal, and vote for these people? What do they give you other than broken promises? Matter Remember Biden told y'all, oh, we're going to get you 2,000. And he said, oh, no, it's really 1,400 because you already got the 600. While they were distracting people with the stimmies, now you see all the inflation that's happened from all the printing of money that they did during all the BS lockdowns. Now what? Now we're going to sit here and try to guilt people into voting for... Please tell me what Stacey Abrams has done for black people in general. Never mind black men. Black people. Please tell me. Other than be black. They give you these false prophets. You know who I'm talking about. They give you these false people to believe in, who are supposed to do everything under the sun to help you. They do little to nothing. They do not even the bare minimum. And then you have to go back out and vote for these people. And put them in office. And put them in elected positions where they get Cadillac healthcare, where they get a nice pension. They get to keep most of the donation money that they use. You know, with the money that they use towards ads and things along those lines, advertising and things along those lines, to get reelected. How many people in Congress have been in Congress for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years? How many of them don't retire? There should be term limits. And now here's this young woman trying to underhandedly shame black men, and then she brings up Tariq Nasheed's name, and she brings up Kevin Samuels' name. By the way, sidebar, Kevin Samuels has been gone almost, 5-6 months now? Why is this man's name still being brought up? Why are, in particular, black women so offended by some of the things that Kevin Samuels said, and he's been gone? Was there truth in it and you just don't want to admit to it? Is this what we're going to do now? We're just going to insult people? Tariq Nasheed. You don't have to agree with everything Tariq Nasheed says. Some of the things he says are true. All right? As an example, I don't agree with everything Dr. Umar has to say, and particularly when it comes to interracial relationships. But he's not wrong on everything. You see, once again, I've talked about it. It was the second episode. Emotions. You allow emotions versus logic, some of you, to dictate what you do in your life. Instead of stats, it's how I feel. That's why a good portion of you are always going to be behind the 8 ball. And this woman just tried to weaponize that by saying you're going to go to the oppressors. I'm sorry, the Democrats are the ones who started the KKK. That is a historical fact. Go look it up. You don't got to believe me. Black people were voting for the Republicans up until the 1960s. And the Democrats came to realize, holy cow, we're getting our asses whipped. We got to do something different. We've got to get the black vote. This had nothing to do with this had nothing to do with we feel sorry for them. This was a business move. That's what it's always been about. This is all business. Do not fall for the nonsense. And this woman, Tiffany Cross, I believe her name is, attempted to shame you into voting for a block of politicians who only come calling when it's election time. What happened to all those promises that were made? Democrats came into office 2020 and shit's gotten worse. Do you remember gas prices being near $6 in some cases, some parts of the country, $7? That wasn't under Trump. For whatever you might think about him. That was under the Dems. And they continuously and repeatedly attempt to shame you into, well, we have to vote for the Democrats because the other side is terrible. No. You see, and I'm not trying to insult her. I don't know her outside of this clip. Certain people have an employee mentality. Others have an employer or entrepreneurial mentality. There's a difference there. She works for NBC. She probably gets a nice check, probably lives comfortably wherever it is that she lives. Good for her. Congratulations. She probably has to tote the line. Oh, you've got to vote for this person because they're black, they're this. Some people are stuck in that mentality. Now it's NBC or MSNBC, so we know they lean more left. Nothing wrong with that. They're entitled to it. But the days of attempting to shame, to belittle people's feelings as it pertains to what is it they want to do. I can get into the whole interracial thing and all that other stuff. I won't bore you with that right now. We'll save that for another day. The reality is this. When you are an entrepreneur of some kind, I don't care what it is, multi-level marketing, doctor, lawyer, content creator, pick whatever profession it is that you want. When you have that mentality, you look at the world through a totally different prism. Most of the people who cross the border, who come into this country, whether illegally or legally, have a different mentality. They do not care about whether this person is Spanish, this person is black, this person is Eastern European, Western European, whatever it is you want to pick. They understand that it directly affects their business. I'll give you an example. The Democrats, for years, have been trying to keep the borders open. Why? Because they ultimately want a new voting bloc. Because black people only make up 13% of the population. And it has been like that since the 1960s. So they want a new voting bloc. But they don't have time to be wasting on, trying to get everybody here legally and things along those lines. So they want to keep the borders open. That's why we see all these migrants from different parts of South America being put in different places across the country. New York, Chicago. I know Martha's Vineyard had them for about 24 to 48 hours. They shipped them out of there. You heard Ron DeSantis talk about that, Florida wasn't a sanctuary state and how they bust them to places like Massachusetts, which is a Commonwealth, because they want a new voting bloc. And what a lot of the Democrats don't realize is that a lot of these people who are coming across the border, minus like the criminals and all things along those lines, because they are in there, stop fronting like there isn't, what they will ultimately come to realize, and you're seeing this in Texas, is people are not thinking along liberal lines. Why? Because a lot of those people who come here have an entrepreneurial spirit. Go and check who's the ones building houses or building homes. Go and check who's doing the landscaping. You can't, I don't know how it is in the rest of the country, but I know in the Northeast, as a kid, you used to be able to go and like shovel snow to make some extra money, or do some like landscaping, like, you get a couple dollars here and there or whatever, but you had a little business going. Most of that is taken up by the Hispanic people. That is an honest fact. There is no more, except for maybe a few neighborhoods here and there. Who handles the landscaping? Who handles the snow removal? For the most part, not everything. Not all of it, excuse me. It's Hispanic people. And you think that those Hispanic people are going to try to sit there and listen to you attempt to have them vote for somebody who's going to try to take out of their pocket? Are you kidding me? Especially if they're able to become citizens. However it is that they became a citizen. A good portion of those people think along the lines, as they should. I have to think about me and mine. And yet for some odd reason that I cannot figure out for the life of me, black people are either shamed or told that they have to vote for a group of politicians who don't give a rat's ass about them. And have not given a rat's ass about them for the longest time. But every election cycle, we're going to need you to come out and vote for us because we're going to give you A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. You get them into office and you get nothing. You get pins on your shirts. And I speak for a lot of people. I shouldn't say. I speak for some people when I say enough is enough. I knew this a long time ago. I learned this, I should say, a long time ago. So when people ask me who I'm voting for, I generally say I'm not really voting for anybody because there's nobody on the ballot who does anything for me and mine. When do you see the Democrats going into some of these cities and asking what can be done to reverse the situation? What can be done to improve these neighborhoods? How many ghettos and hoods have only gotten worse over the years? You think there'd be some type of turnover? I know some people are mad at gentrification, but you thought there'd be some type of turnover? Maybe they'd improve their places a little bit, and then when another certain group goes in, buys the land, and raises rents, and puts an artisanal, cheese shop in the area, people get mad. You were there for generations. You had an opportunity, and you did nothing. What are you waiting on? Reparations? If the Democrats wanted to get y'all reparations, they would have got it for you decades ago and kept that money coming in and rebuilt. Remember, I talked about it on here. Ice Cube had a plan for America, and y'all told him to shut up and dribble. But oh, no. We need you to go to the polls and vote for us so we can give you nothing again for another 4 to 6 years. At least according to the polls, the Republicans are going to win. Not saying that they're the greatest in the world, but when you walk into a room, they should be looking like, damn, it's those mothers again. We got to deal with them. And they say, hey guys, how are you? You want some Starbucks coffee? That's how this is done. It's not done by giving away your vote for nothing. This is America. As Kanye West said, everything's for sale. America's for sale. Y'all don't want y'all neighborhoods being regentrified and a bunch of land sitting there rotting while y'all commit violence against each other? Get your money together. Go and vote for somebody who's going to change. Why haven't there been policy changes in certain parts of the country, in particular big cities, that protect black people? Where are the policy changes? The significant ones. Asian people, after a year of unfortunately people being idiots because of the whole COVID thing, got an anti-lynching law. I don't personally think it does anything, but at least on the surface, they got something. Y'all want reparations? Didn't Barry give the Jews, the Jewish community, reparations? I thought the Holocaust happened in Europe. I'm asking for a friend. You cannot continuously and repeatedly get nothing for your vote. You cannot continuously and repeatedly get nothing for your time. You want to work with us? Great. You don't? Bye. It's very simple. This is how business works. This is all this is. It's business. Always has been, always will be. Don't let anybody, not a Tiffany Cross, not a Stacey Abrams, not any other black Democrat or Democrat in general, not Joe Biden, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. Remember that? How'd that work out for you? Your time is valuable. Your efforts are valuable. It's enough of the pandering. Either give us what we want, or not, we're going to go somewhere else. And don't think the next group you're trying to bring in is going to help you out either. Because they're looking out for themselves too, as they rightfully should. It's not about pandering anymore. It's about results. You show and prove, or you're not getting it anymore. You don't get us. You're going to get a few people who are still going to vote for you, but you don't get the majority anymore. We go where we're wanted.
It's not ruthless. It's prices.
It's just business, then,
When, Mr. Butcher, in history, has it ever been about anything different?